amateur.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Track Talk, episode number 9. I do apologize last week. I was not able to get home from work in time, so we missed the show. We're amateurs, as old Mark Arthur likes to call us since we go live every time. Mark, how you doing tonight, brother?
I can't complain. How are you?
Hey, you switched it up a little bit right there. It wasn't the same cliche, but I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. Wish it wasn't Indianapolis, but it is what it is. I'm just glad we're on the oval, not the road course. What's your thoughts on the track tonight?
I mean, Indy's a different beast altogether, right? It's a flat track, so the short trackers can be good in the corners, but it's fast, right? So we fly down into 2 corners, and then the other ones are almost like short track corners, right? Because we're not going quite as fast into 2 and 4. So I mean, it's different. It's weird. A lot of right front's going to burn off tonight, so we'll see.
Right on, Mark. And we have our guest in here with us tonight. Who is a guest for episode number 9 tonight, Mark?
The notorious Jammey Walker.
Notorious.
The notorious Jammey Walker. Jammey, how you doing tonight, brother?
I tell you what, if I could throw this thing about 30 feet further, I'd be happy, but I can't afford to spend or throw another $2,000 around. So.
Right, so for the folks that don't know, Jamie's been having VR, we call them issues, just something to do with the way it's syncing or something, Jammey?
Yeah, I'm having troubles with tracking. It's just not right. The screen shouldn't be jumping around left and right while I'm sitting in one spot, so I'm just trying to wiggle out the bugs.
Right. Well, while we're sitting there talking to you, Jammey, we're going to go into our first segment today, driver spotlight. I've made the joke for 3 years now. I've raced with Jammey Walker, and I may have heard 20 words top. So he's kind of he's a lone ranger almost. He don't speak a whole lot. He don't cause no issues. He just comes out and races pretty good. Jammey, you picked up 2 wins so far this season at Phoenix and then Sonoma. So that's covering 2 completely different style tracks right there to pick up wins in. Then you have 5 top 5s. That accounts for all your top 10s. You've yet to actually get on the pole, which is surprising considering you've started P2 3 different times this season. Talk to me about your season so far before we go through the rest of your stats.
Well, if it was a win-and-in type season, I'd be sitting pretty happy running, average or whatever. But this point system is a little different now. You got to start being a lot more consistent, and I've been struggling with that lately with some bad finishes. But I'm hoping to get this turned around here sooner or later.
I want to let everybody know these next few stats I'm going to read here after Jammey just said he's kind of struggling lately. Jammey's had a very, very, very good competitive season so far. He's had 3 second-place finishes, 3 fourth-place finishes, 1 sixth-place finish, and then he did have 2 races where I think one was last week, January, he found a little bit of trouble early, finished 21st, and then 34th to go along with your 2 wins. So a real good season. Talk to us about last week. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know you had a little bit of issues, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. And I'd be running. Yeah, I wasn't even pushing the car, and I was burning the right front off a heck of a lot faster than everybody else. So I told myself, all right, just back out of it, let everybody go, get my tires later on in the race, and I was able to do it. And then I got caught up in a mess, and none of my doings, just wrong spot, wrong time.
Right. Indy tonight, Jammey. It seems like at the track that's probably going to be right in your wheelhouse, right? Saving tires over the long run. How's your feelings going towards Indianapolis tonight?
It's a little iffy. I mean, I know I can run there good on the triples. This VR thing, it's giving me a headache. I'm trying to debate on which way I should go tonight. I mean, if I go to the triples, I should be all right.
So it sounds like you're going to go triples with that, but I know Mark's a big advocate for VR. I think he may still have his headset on top of his head. If not, he took it off. Yeah, he took it off. So yeah, Mark's a big advocate for VR here. So if you're picking right, you're going VR, right?
Myself, yes.
Yeah, 100 times, right?
Oh yeah. There's no. So the way I explain it to people is like, I mean, driving with triples and stuff like that is fine, but you're still just looking at the screen, right? Where if you're in VR, you're in the car. You're literally sitting inside the car, all around, behind you. and in triples you're just looking at the car. So I mean, I'd much rather be in the car than just looking at the car, and your depth perception and everything's just so much better in VR because it is 3D.
And that's what I'm trying to get to. Is like I said, I've got the motion rig now. I'm trying to get the VR, at tip-top shape, and I'm just struggling with that right now.
So you heard him mention motion rig right there. You heard VR. Jamie, what's your setup? What do we have here? What is Jamie Walker rocking with here?
We've got the DOF P3 Reality with the AccuForce V2. They got the Fanatec V3 sport pedals.
Just don't. You got the Puma racing socks.
I saw that. I saw the Pumas. I did see the Pumas too.
Speed.
That motion rig, Jamie. How much of a game changer is that motion rig?
It's definitely interesting. Let's just say that.
Is it complicated to set up?
As far as setup and build time, no, it wasn't that bad. It's just tweaking out the balancing and all the motions that it's got. It's it gets to be a headache sometimes, but I'm getting there. It's finally working the way I want it to. Now I'm just struggling with the headset.
Now and then your VR headset. Are you like Mario using a Valve as well, or is it a different headset?
No, I went out and got that Valario Aero. It's a high-end headset. Like I said, it's above anything else as far as clarity, but it's just struggling with it right now.
So compare that. The only other headsets I know of, VR headsets, is like your Rifts or your Oculus, we'll call it, and then your what's yours, Mark? Valve Index, correct?
Right. Yep.
Hey, how does it compare to those? I'm sure you said high end, so is it even above the Valve then too?
Yes, it's above the Valve as well.
Wow. And I know what the Valve costs, and that makes my stomach hurt because I want one so bad. I want it so bad, but then I see so many people having issues with them, and it scares me off of it. But now Jamie's somebody who has raced triples, that's comfortable in triples, won a lot of races in triples, won a lot of races in VR. What's your biggest takeaway between the two, besides like the immersion that the VR does provide?
That's exactly what you said, is the immersion. You want the actual real feeling of being inside the car, and now that I got this motion rig, I kind of wanted everything to go with it. Yeah, it's been a blast when I get it working right.
Right, so when there's no hiccups, nothing like that, it's perfect, right?
Yes, sir.
So with that, I mean, folks, imagine at home if you're watching. I mean, you got the VR headset on, so you're sitting in the car. Then he has the motion rig, so when he turns left and creates G-forces, he's shifting over. The seat itself's going to shift over and back and forth. He's going to feel every bump in the track. He's essentially sitting in a car right then. Mark, I think that's got to be pretty high up on your bucket list next, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to have one, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a couple grand.
They are becoming more affordable, though. They are becoming more affordable.
They are. That one that he's got there is the same one Corey's got. I mean, Terry and I was looking at them a couple years ago, and they are probably the most affordable. But still, that's a couple thousand.
Cost-wise, what are we talking? Not the pocket watch, Jamie. I'm just legit curious.
Right now, you can get the H3, which is just a step down. It's got a little bit less of a gear in it. You can get it for about $2,600 out the door.
Okay, I mean, it's expensive, right? But it costs to play. I mean, you got to pay to play if you want something like that. And I was watching Corey's the night he won Talladega, and it was just wild seeing how far it, like the range of motion that it actually had. It was insane just to actually see. So I couldn't imagine actually feeling that when you're in the car. So
the weirdest thing to get used to is the traction loss. When you start stepping out on the rear end, that thing will spin out on you. It's like, whoa, that's kind of different feeling.
Right. Also, if you're spinning the rear tires, it's kind of sliding. It feels like behind you almost, really.
Yes.
Like the way the seat's angling and stuff like that. See, man, that's what I need right there, Mark. I'm telling you, Emily hates me talking to these people with motion rigs because it puts the seat even further in my head that I gotta have one, and they are becoming more affordable.
You gotta get VR first, Tanner.
Man, I love my curved monitor right here. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's great for other games.
But it's really not like Call of Duty and stuff like that. It's actually not all that good. But anyways, let's transition over to something that, Mark, I know you don't watch a lot of present day NASCAR, really. I know you don't follow it too much, but with today we're doing the Who's That Driver segment, it is going to be NASCAR driver based. So, Who's That Driver? NASCAR edition. I'm going to give Jamie and Mark a few hints for each driver. There's going to be 5 different drivers, and they can work against each other or in unison. And they're going to try to come up with who I am describing here. No timer, nothing like that, since it is more than one driver. Let me get the photo pulled up. Jamie, are you a NASCAR fan? Do you watch a lot of NASCAR?
Not as much as I used to, but yeah, I'm still a fan.
I went a little old school with this one, Mark. I did. I tried to take care of you, Boo Bear. I tried to take care of you. All right. Driver number 1. This driver has a total of 55 wins in the NASCAR Cup Series. And this driver had longtime sponsor Kodiak. I got a few more hints, but if we'll let y'all try to guess.
Rusty Wallace?
You are correct, sir. Rusty Wallace. The next hint for Wallace would have been... This driver never won at Talladega or Daytona. I didn't even know that until I was looking up his hints earlier, by the way. And this driver was a Cup champion.
I think he won most flips at one of those tracks.
One of the hints was going to be this guy took a wild ride, but I figured that would give it away.
At least a combination of both tracks.
Right? For sure. For sure. All right. Driver number 2. This driver drove for Roush Racing. Wow. Easy for me to say, huh? Roush Racing and RCR.
Wow.
There's not a whole lot of drivers that went from Roush to RCR. Hint number 2. This driver has been sponsored by Caterpillar, AT&T, and Citgo.
Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton. Good job. The final hint for that one was this driver has a brother that is also in the NASCAR Cup Series. All right, driver number 3. This one is the one I said that was a gimme earlier, Mark. This driver made something famous after winning that was different. So, like, he did something different after he won, and it became a thing.
Is it My Polish Victory Lap?
I don't know. Is it? Who's the driver?
Alan Quickie.
You're not no fun, Jamie, okay? Can you knock it off? It is Alan Quickie. So the other hint for him was this driver was an owner driver, of course, and this driver was sponsored by Hooters. So Quickie was fairly easy. Driver number 4. This driver also had a very unique way to celebrate his race wins. I'm not going any further, Jamie. You can guess it now if you got it. This driver celebrated race wins.
Carl Edwards.
Oh, yeah, Carl Edwards. Yeah.
It's Carl Edwards. It is.
Yeah.
His other ones were this driver has a total of 28 wins. I thought he had more wins than that, honestly. But if you think about it, Carl didn't race in NASCAR that long. All right. Final driver. This has not been very fun today, Jamie. I'm going to start calling you Jamie Stats Walker. Take the Butcher's nickname and give it to you. All right. This driver has drove for many different race teams, including Penske, Roush, and James Finch. Penske, Roush, and James Finch Racing, a.k.a. Phoenix Racing, if you want to call it that. Who was it?
That's a lot of different drivers, though.
That is. This driver has a total of 34 career NASCAR Cup Series victories.
Would it be one of the Busch brothers?
It might be.
Kurt.
This driver had Sharpie as a sponsor for a few years and won a title with Sharpie.
Yeah, Kurt Busch.
Man, Jamie Walker's pretty good with the NASCAR knowledge, Mark. He
put him in here with Taylor.
Right, man. Taylor Butcher, though. You ask him who won the 1979 All-Tech 400. Oh, easy. Alan Quickie, like just random.
Who finished third? And he'd tell you.
Right, absolutely crazy. Well, good job, Jamie. That was pretty impressive. So I take it you are a pretty big NASCAR fan if you can know all that, right?
Yeah, like I said, back in the old days, I really watched it, but not so much now with these new cars. I just, not my cup of tea.
That's seems to be the common thread to people that used to watch, not watching nearly as much anymore. Favorite driver, if you have one?
Chase Elliott, or if he was still racing today, it'd be Junior.
Junior, okay. Mark, who's your favorite? I've always just kind of guessed Denny Hamlin just because of
Gordon was my favorite.
all time. Who do you have a current favorite? Bubba Wallace, probably.
Kyle Larson.
Oh, Larson. Okay, all right.
Larson reminds me of a lot of Gordon when he first started.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Like even down to how they are as a human, right? Like he's just a different
mannerisms,
right?
Like
that's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I've actually never even thought about that. That's actually spot on. They're
and I thought it was pretty deep that when Jeff Gordon went out and he came in, it was kind of like Jeff Gordon's number was 24, his number was 42. It was kind of reversed.
Now you're getting a little cute with it.
So Jeff Gordon's first race was whose last race? Do you know that?
Richard Petty.
It was Petty's.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it was like the end of one era and the start of another. So kind of like the same thing with Larson and Gordon.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that race the race that like it was like Kawicki, Davey Allison, Dale Earnhardt? They were all going for the championship, right? At Atlanta, I believe, 1992, I think. Where's Taylor at?
Yeah, I believe so. That's the one that Kawicki won.
Right. Yeah. Where's Taylor at when you need him? So yeah, my favorite driver nowadays is Kyle Busch. I like him. I don't necessarily love him off the track when he gets to talking, but he's done a lot better, and he's actually getting cheered when he wins now. That's just the Chevrolet and RCR connection, right?
I think it was that. It gave him a bigger fan base when he did that. As long as he can lose his attitude, then he'll start getting a lot more.
If he,
that's why I said give it a minute, because
he won't. That's what I told Emily that. I was like, he'll never fly this straight ever. He'll never be able to stay this straight.
Right. It's kind of like saying, you can take a boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy, kind of thing. And that's the same with him. Like, you can't take that jerkiness out of him. It's just I think he's always going to have that.
So let me ask you this. This is a common debate. You watch enough NASCAR to know who's the most talented driver. You always hear Larson, Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick. I mean, it has to. If we're talking just pure talent, it would have to be one of them three, right? They can get in anything and win.
I mean, I think if you went sheer drivability and talent, it would be Larson. Just as how
it would have to be Larson.
Multiple types of racing.
I agree.
Yeah, you don't see Kyle Busch getting out there in a dirt car and going out winning every night.
Right. And that's the Kyle Busch fan admitting that, right? But Larson can get in anything, and anything he gets in, he may not win it. He's a favorite to win it that night, though, and that's
unless it's one of these, then he doesn't have a very good shot.
Right.
And in his defense, they have changed the car a lot in the last few years.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they've been changing everything around so much. That's why I kind of don't like watching it anymore.
Well, it's still changing week to week. They still ain't picked something out yet.
They're steadily pushing to make this the IROC series for some reason.
Bingo.
And the IROC series failed because nobody liked watching it because you couldn't be dominant in that. It was same setup, same car, same everything, and it was boring. Right? Nobody wanted to watch it, even though it was all the greats was racing.
All the champions, right? But it's still
nobody wanted to watch it, so it failed. And they're quickly making this fail because of the same thing, trying to make everybody the same speed.
NASCAR reminds me of almost like a fixed setup right now, and that's what you're kind of like.
There's no manufacturer war anymore, right? Because they're all racing the same thing with a different skin on it, pretty much.
Just different headlights, basically.
Bring back the manufacturer's wars, right? So if you want your car to be faster in a certain way, these race teams go to the manufacturer and say, hey, can you extend the nose a little bit? Can you lay the windshield back? Can you give us a little more speed here or there in the wind tunnel, which helps the manufacturer as well, right? Because if it's getting better aero on the highway, it's going to get better fuel mileage, right? So, and these guys are doing all that testing with aero and all that stuff would help the manufacturer out. Manufacturer would help them out the next season. And that was the fun part of NASCAR, of the manufacturers battling, the drivers battling, the engine builders battling, and now they're quickly trying to take all that away. It's just boring to me.
It seems like a lot of it's off of a laptop now too, right? I mean, that's just a lot of it. It's like, well, the laptop told me to do this, which is probably right.
Turn it into Formula One.
Exactly. And speaking of
they've got the cars so close to each other that teams are worried about you looking at their speedometer because it's proprietary.
Yeah,
information.
They'll blare it out where you can't see it. The speedometer.
So it's so close. Like you can't even see what RPMs I'm going because it's just dumb.
But I mean, that's you were talking about the manufacturer wars per se, and I remember It may have been something I heard on TV, but win on Sunday, sell on Monday. And I would say, as far as the way the cars look to the eye test nowadays, I think they look like their street car counterparts, right? But the way they drive and all that stuff, you're total opposite now. We're a sports car basically. NASCAR's basically like a sports car now, and and what I mean by that, like a Le Mans, what would race down at Le Mans, Daytona 24 hours, and that kind of stuff. So I definitely agree that NASCAR's definitely like a fixed setup series now. Everybody has the same stuff. There's no crew chief that's getting an edge over somebody right now by finding holes in the rule book.
Right.
Yeah, you can't go out today and buy that Camaro that they're running. That's completely modified. Like back in the old days when you can go out and buy that Monte Carlo, you can get that run right off the showroom floor.
Right. Win on Sunday, sell it on Monday, right? All right, Mark, it's time. Let's get into our pick'em of the week. So, Mark, you jumped out quick on us, man. You jumped out to a 5-0 lead. Our guest finally got on the board last week. Let's see if we can get our thing up here. Track Talk Pick'em. Mark has 5 points. I have 2. And Corey Rutherford was his pick of Dave Seats last week. Got them, or 2 weeks ago, Watkins Glen week. Got them on the board. So we're going to see. I guess that means our guest gets to go first. Jamie, there's a few drivers you cannot pick. You cannot pick yourself, Aaron Bockover, Corey Sherman, Stephen T. Johnson, Mark Arthur, or Dave Seats. Who would be your pick to finish the best out of our 3 picks here?
I've been keeping an eye on Cody lately. He's been pretty stout. He's been pretty strong. I'm going to go with him.
Cody Gibson, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's a good pick. Very strong pick. Very, very strong pick going into Indy. And Mark, since you're beating me, I'll let you have the honors. You can either go or you can take. All right. I was going to give you the ability to let me know if you want me to go first, because I don't know who I'm going to pick, but I do know who I'm going to pick. I'm not 100% sure on it. I cannot pick Dalton Kilroe, Taylor Butcher, Jamie Walker, Derek Paulson, Chris Carroll, or Big Ugly Mark Arthur. So I'm going to pick. I need a point. Indianapolis is a tough track. It's going to be a tire wear track. Who can manage their tires the best? I'm going the Soul Stealer. I'm going Brian Dees. Brian Dees. So need MFRD to come and look right and fly right tonight. We need that 17 out front. Who you got, Marky Mark?
Well, I'm going to go with somebody that I've been seeing like the past probably 4 or 5 races. He's been running pretty good, especially in practice. But he was running good in practice today, too. So I'm going to go with John Perkins.
John Perkins in the number 33 Loves machine. So you got John Perkins. I got Brian Dees. And our guest, Jamie Walker, has Mr. Cody Gibson. Remember, score is 5. Mark has 5 because he's a cheater. I have 2. And our guest finally got on the board, though. Can the guest tie it up? It's going to be something to find out, as Sam will be live in about 45 minutes here on True Sim Productions YouTube channel. Be sure to thumbs up the video. Share this out with your folks. Let us know of any other segments you may think of in your mind for us. And BPO drivers, if you want to come on the show, we got openings. Shoot me a message and we'll get you signed up. Mark, Indianapolis.
Imagine that Jamie got a Mountain Dew in the background. What the heck?
Does he?
Yeah.
Is it a... Okay, yeah, it's regular Mountain Dew. I thought it was Diet Mountain Dew for a minute. Well, Jamie and Mark...
You get sick drinking that stuff.
I hate Diet Mountain Dew. I hate all diet drinks, actually. But before we wrap it up and close up shop, Jamie, Mark, any final thoughts before we go into Indianapolis tonight?
Do whatever we can to keep that right front. It's gonna be just like it was at Holmes or at last week. So we're just gonna have to really save those tires.
Well, Jamie, I think you are coming in as the points leader. So good luck to you tonight. Keep the momentum going. Had a great season so far. Mark, what about you? Final words, brother, before
Pretty much same as Jamie. Save the tires, and one step further, save the nose. I mean, that thing's running hot. It's running really high RPMs down the front stretch. So if you're not careful under pacing, or or caution laps and you run in the back of somebody, you're gonna have some problems.
Right, going to blow the motor, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a problem with iRacing right now, just across the board. All right, well, thank you, Mark. Jamie, thank you for coming in and sitting with us. Glad I got to talk to you for a little bit and get to know you some more. Gonna look forward to tearing it up with you on the track tonight. When you lap me tonight, I'll wave at you and tell you good luck
Damn,
as you're passing. And
Jamie, you got the police there or something? Look at his monitor.
I see that. I saw that a while ago. I saw that
Yes.
the red and
Cops
blue.
there, man.
Right.
That's my keyboard and mouse pad.
Well, folks, we're going to close up shop here tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will be back next week. Not sure the guest is going to be, but we'll be back here next week. It'll be at least myself and Mark. Until then, we'll see you.
Peace.